Welcome back to Theme Park Wizard. We have our special guest, Shaun from Ranking the Mouse. Hello, how are you?
What's going on, guys? How you doing, Ethan? It's good to be here.
Fantastic. Where can these lovely people find you?
Oh, yeah. They can find me Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at Ranking the Mouse. Pretty easy. Same on everything. Most active on Twitter, though, so they can find me over there.
Awesome. Yes, definitely subscribe to his channel because he ranks everything, even the sidewalk. Disney sidewalks. You should do that. Disney sidewalks. Disney pavements. So he went to Disneyland for the first time since February 2020, last week, I think. And he's going to tell us all about it. So what was your game plan? You came and you stayed at the Radisson, right?
Yep. So we were there last week. We stayed at the Radisson, which is a brand new hotel on it's down behind the Sun Coast, which is like kind of by Garden Walk. It's a couple minutes behind Garden Walk. So we stayed there. We went to Disneyland the first day, DCA the second day, Disneyland the third day. We do have park hoppers, but my wife and I don't. I mean, we sometimes park hop, but usually we just, if it's our first time in a while, we just go to each park individually. So yeah, no park hopping, but we had park hoppers. So we spent 3 days at the resort. It was a great time.
You said you liked the hotel. How come? Is there a reason you didn't want to stay on a Disney hotel, or it's expensive, or you just
it's my
try something new?
No, we've never stayed on property at Disneyland. We have every time we go to Disney World, we stay on property, but they're a lot more affordable. Disneyland, it's actually pretty cheap right now. It's like the cheapest I've ever seen their hotels, but it's still too expensive. We got the Radisson for like $150 a night. I think it was like 170 after fees. So it was a really good deal for us. Too good to pass up. But I definitely want to stay on property next time.
Yeah, the 150. That's not bad at all. Incredible. So do they have a bus transportation, or did you Uber to the park?
So they do have ART, which is the Anaheim. I don't even know what ART stands for, but the Anaheim Transit. But we didn't take it. It stops right at the hotel, but we just walked because we have an 8-year-old nephew that's absurdly full of energy, and so he was just trying to get out of the door. So we walked. We took an Uber 3 times, and then we walked the other 5 times.
Oh, that was your nephew. I thought that was no.
Gotcha. We're too young for that. That was my nephew.
So was that? Has he been there before?
So he has. He went to Disneyland recently, but he hadn't been to DCA since he was like 2. So when we took him to DCA, his mind was blown because obviously every little kid, I mean, everybody should be a huge Marvel fan. So when he saw Avengers Campus, I was going crazy and he was going crazy right next to me. So it was pretty fun.
Awesome. Cool. Hold on. Okay. I'm back. I don't know what happened.
Welcome back.
So, you guys went to Disneyland first. What was the first ride you did? Or did
first ride?
Did you have I have to go on this first, second, third, or did you just kind of play it by wait times?
Well, so we actually went. We went separately, my wife and I, to Disneyland the first day because our nephew didn't have a ticket to Disneyland. So we went separate. So I went for about 4 hours and she went for about 4 or 5 hours. Mm-hmm. So when I first got there, my first game plan was Snow White. I heard amazing things about it, but I don't watch ride-throughs, or I try and avoid ride-throughs of brand new rides. Mm-hmm. So that was the first thing I tried to ride. I got in line and it broke down when we got up to the front. So I hopped out of line and went over to Big Thunder Mountain and rode that just because I know it's going to be down for a couple months. I think it's going down in like 2 weeks for a couple months. So I wanted to get on that before it goes down. I know. And then after that, I went back to Snow White. It was open. I rode Snow White. So that was my number one goal. I also rode, right after that, I went and rode Space Mountain because I've been at Disney World the last 2 years and their Space Mountain is not good. So I had to get a good Space Mountain ride in.
Exactly terrible. This is like the Matterhorn but indoors.
I know it's so bad, and our Space Mountain is so much better. So it made me appreciate ours even more after going on theirs.
Exactly, it's faster, it's smoother. What do you think of
Yeah.
the new Snow White? They almost like took apart the whole thing. When I went, I was like, wow, it's like a totally different ride in here.
I feel the exact same as you. I was shocked because I, for some reason, thought that they were just redoing the end of it, like the last couple scenes, and they did. But like you said, Ethan, they redid the entire thing. So, I mean, obviously, you can see the hints of the old ride in there, but I mean, it's basically a new ride. But I still think they did a great job because, kind of like when they redid Alice, they still kept the like OG touches. They still kept the original ride, but they just made it so much better. I feel like. Maybe I'm going crazy, but I feel like it was longer. Like maybe they slowed the ride down a little bit. I don't know. It was so good.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think they slowed the ride down so you get an extra 30 seconds. That's what I think they said.
That's a great move. I think that's a great call because the pacing is so good in there now. I mean, before it was like really fast, and then obviously the pacing at the end was so jarring. It was just like over. And I still like that they kept some scary touches too. They still kept the witch in there, and they didn't dumb her down, so that was really cool too.
Yeah, the old one would be so fast. You go scene to scene, and then what just happened? And then boom, It's over. I'm like, whoa.
Exactly. And Snow White is the type. Those are the type of rides. Snow White, Mr. Toads, Alice. Those are the rides that separate, in my opinion, Magic Kingdom from Disneyland. Obviously, Magic Kingdom's bigger, but Disneyland is more OG. But like, just the fact that those rides still exist is awesome. But yeah, it looks like Samuel said they did slow down the rides. That's cool. They did that. I think that's a great call.
Samuel. Yeah, Disney World got rid of all their little fancy stuff.
I know. They still have Peter Pan, and that's basically it. I mean, they have Winnie the Pooh in Small World, but.
So then he went to So what's your? You've ridden Rise of the Resistance, right?
Yeah. So we had ridden it. So our last trip to Disneyland was February 2020, and I think Rise opened like mid-January, right? So we were there within this first month, and we got on it, but we only rode it once, and then Disneyland closed. But then we went down to Disney World and rode it down at Hollywood Studios. So I didn't ride it this trip. I actually had a boarding pass. I got a boarding pass, but the time didn't work out because I had to go to dinner and meet my wife, and it didn't work out. But it's okay. I've been on it enough.
Do you love it or do you love it?
There's only two options. If anyone says anything other than they love it, they're lying.
Yeah, like wow. And I only got to ride it once, but that was with the fast the 15-minute thing. So I didn't get to see both pre-shows. So next time
okay.
I can see the full experience, but I still had an amazing time.
See, I kind of like that for you though, because like now the next time you go, it'll be even a better experience because now you're going to see both.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, there's Ray. I can see Ray, so I was like, whoa, there's Ray.
Yeah. Yeah, man, everything they did with Rise, I mean, no matter, even the most negative Disney person agrees Rise is just the most insane thing ever, so.
I know, now if they can only do that Avengers e-ticket the same way. Like, wow.
I know,
so then, what's your favorite ride at the Disneyland Resort?
Man, that's a tough question because, obviously I rank things, so sometimes I try to keep an objective mind. So objectively, I would probably say I think the best ride at the resort is Pirates of the Caribbean. You have the history of it. You have the fact that it doesn't take up any room because it's basically underground. You have the fact that Walt worked on it. You have the fact that everybody can ride it, kids to adults, but you still have thrill. Objectively, I'd probably go Pirates, and subjectively, that is in my top 5. But subjectively, I think I have to go Guardians, Mission Breakout. I don't think objectively it's the best ride, but the experience on that ride every single time, it's brand new. I mean, some rides, even like Rise of Resistance, I love it, but after like the 3rd or 4th ride, I'm not like bored, that's the wrong word, but just the amazement goes away a little bit. But Guardians, every single time, I'm like, holy S word. Like, it's crazy, man. I gotta go with
Guardians, that's my favorite ride in the entire resort.
Ethan, wow. See, you're a ranking channel already. I love it.
Exactly. I say it all the time. And I like, my favorite song is I Want You Back. My favorite drop sequence, because I feel like it does more longer drops, is Born to Be Wild.
Yeah. See, I love how you can separate, which drop sequence, which song. And that's what's so great about the ride. The fact that you have 6 different ride sequences. I mean, that's like no ride has that rewritability. I mean, they say Tower of Terror and Hollywood Studios is random every time, but it doesn't feel as random to me. Not as random as Guardians. So that's why I love that ride.
Yeah. Do you have a particular favorite song or drop sequence?
Yeah, Born to Be Wild is great. The one by me and my wife have a. I'm not gonna remember the song, but the top left elevator. I'm pretty sure it's the same song every time when you go up the stairs and you go far left. That to me is the most crazy, but I can't remember the song.
Oh yes, I'm gonna write down all the names, but yeah.
Let me Google it.
Is it? Let's see. Maybe it was a free ride. I think my least favorite of the 3 of the 6, but I still like it. Is Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I feel like that's the tame.
It's a good song, but it just seems a little too tame for the craziness of that ride.
Exactly. Yeah. And speaking of PCA,
the other thing I love about that ride too, sorry to cut you off, but the fact that, I mean, obviously anytime a ride has an overlay, a holiday overlay, I love it. But the fact that Monsters After Dark is literally better than the ride itself,
yeah,
that's crazy, man. You can literally ride. If you go to Guardians during Halloween, you can ride it 7 different completely new ride sequences. You go during the day and you have 6 elevators, and then you can go after 5 p.m. and it's a completely new ride. That's crazy.
Yeah, and next week, I can't wait. I'll be there sometime in September. But yeah, if you ride that like when it's dark outside, that's crazy. The lighting package, then the cast members get all into it.
You're right.
The song is great.
You're right.
Groot Rocket's hilarious, and Groot, I love Rocket and Groot. They're like my favorite members of the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff.
100%.
All on them, and then even the elevators when like how the lights they flash and it's synchronized the drop, so it goes flash, boom, and then a drop. Super cool. Love it.
Yeah, and I do feel like there's a bunch of things about that ride too that like a lot of people don't notice. Like if you watch the screens, there's a lot of like, oh, okay. Jessica says, I think top left elevator is Want You Back by Jackson 5.
Yeah, so crazy. I've been that thing probably almost 100 times, and I only gotten that song once.
I know.
Always out that way.
Yeah, but I know I love how there's this little details. Like a lot of people, because they're still screaming, they don't hear. Batista's character.
Drax.
They don't hear Drax the Destroyer. They don't hear him talk at the end. How like we didn't do anything to help. It's so funny, man. And people miss that details. And then
when the picture happens, Rocket says little things like, "Is that Disneyland over there?"
Yeah. And people on Twitter were hating on that, but I mean, I think it's funny. We don't need to take everything so serious.
It's hilarious because I mean he's right. It's right there. It's so funny. I think it's great, but I think they like it if it was its own ride. I feel like that's part of the Tower of Terror to Guardians hate that comes out with the
and I do get that hate because the main thing, I mean, you're on Twitter too, and on Disney Twitter, and the one thing that makes everyone so mad is just change. Even if it's not a bad change, people just hate change, and a year later they like it. But for me, the old Tower of Terror we had, I'm not a fan. Maybe I'm like speaking out of privilege because I can go to both coasts, but I'm not a fan of when a ride exists on one coast and it's like way worse. And our Tower of Terror was just way worse than Hollywood Studios, way worse. So the fact that we got a ride that's completely unique, better than our Tower of Terror, I think it's a great switch. The only thing I didn't love was obviously the Tower of Terror facade looked really cool, like from and stuff. This new facade's fine, but I don't think it's as cool. But now that it's in Avengers Campus, that helps it a lot for sure.
I know the new facade at night during Halloween is the only time they use that little black strip with the light. If they did that all the time, I feel like I love that facade. I like it's like purple and red, and they have that black lightning strip. Then it's like superb to me, like super cool.
I really don't know why they built that strip if they weren't going to use it. It feels like they wanted to do more of it and they never did.
They use it on Media Day and then just Halloween. That's so weird.
Yeah.
And I get that. I do get people don't like that they're just a random satellite dish is stuck on there. That's kind of strange. But I was like,
right, it is. Yeah.
It said basically MK Pirates. Huh? Yeah. I've never been on that one, but I've seen a wide thing. It's very
so Samuel's saying basically Our old Tower of Terror to Hollywood Studios Tower of Terror is Magic Kingdom's Pirates to our Pirates. Their Pirates is really bad and probably should never have existed.
Yeah, like, wow. So since you're in Seattle, what do you consider your home park? Disney World or Disneyland?
Gotta go with the best coast, Ethan. Gotta go with the best coast. Definitely Disneyland. I actually, contrary to most people, I did not grow up going to the Disney parks. I did not. I think I went once when I was like 11. I kind of remember it a little bit.
Yes, it does, Nathan. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. Yep. And so my home park is Disneyland for sure. I grew up going to, or I didn't grow up going to either parks, but my first park I went to when I was 21 was Disneyland, and then I got an annual pass the first day I went. I just went with some family, and I was like, oh sure, like I went with like my aunt and uncle and my niece and nephew, and then that night I was like, I'm buying an annual pass. This is too perfect.
Wait a second. How old are you now?
I'm 27. So my first time at a park was 6 years ago.
Okay, I was gonna say you don't look too much older than 21. So like,
well, Ethan, you thought I had an 8-year-old kid, so I got to be kind of old.
Hey, some people have kids at 16.
No, you're right. You're right.
Well, so speaking of your 8-year-old nephew, you said is his first time at DC and Avengers Campus, and you loved Avengers Campus. I mean, you were just loving it, at least on Twitter. It seemed like you're jumping for joy.
I was.
What are your top 5 favorite things of Avengers Campus, and why do you think people don't like it?
Top 5. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I definitely should probably share my thoughts on YouTube too. Mostly just on Twitter. So if you got more thoughts, go check it out. As Ethan said, I was very excited, but I honestly was just blown away by Avengers Campus. It might have been because I had subconscious, negative thoughts based on what people say, but I just was blown away, man. I mean, to get into the ranking, I don't know if I can go in an order right now because I probably have to think about it. But number 5 was definitely Web. I don't think Web was number 1 for me, and I do see why people are disappointed by it. But I still think it was a great ride. The best part about Web is how immersive it looks when you get down into the ride system. It feels like you're, first time at 21. First time in Disneyland. Yes, I was 21. I know, it's crazy. I think I went when I was like 9, but I don't really remember it. So my first time remembering it was 21. But yeah, Web is just great, man. You get down there and it feels like you're underground, like Pirates. It's so cool. I love the ride vehicles. It's amazing. It feels like you're in a garage.
Like a warehouse type thing. I was like, oh, that's
cool. I absolutely love that. I'm just a huge fan of immersion, and so that was great. So that's number 5. I see why people are disappointed by it, but I still think it's a great ride. I don't think it's too short, and I think it's fun. I had a blast on it. So that's number 5. Number 4 is Pim. I don't love the food at Pim. If it's just the food, I probably don't even have it in my top 5. I mean, it's fine. It's not great. It's a little overpriced. But the theming of Pim is so cool. Like you said, Ethan, at night with Guardians, that's how I feel about Pim's. It is so cool at night.
Yeah, I think Avengers Campus in general at night.
Yeah, Avengers Campus in general. But Pim's and then even when you walk in, I don't know right now because of COVID, but it's pretty open and like wide open in there. They do have a standby line, but I always do mobile order. And I walk in there and literally the first thing you see is that pretzel thing. And on Twitter, I saw a photo of it. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. When you get in there, it's actually so cool how immersive it is. I was just blown away by Pim's. I thought it was really cool. The service was great. So I don't love the food, but I think
I don't know if you drink or not. But did you try the wine or the micro brewery part?
So I don't drink. My wife does. So she was about to order one, but the mobile order was for some reason an hour later. So we just skipped it. But we'll try that next time. Yeah, Pim's Tasting Lab. But we did order the Proton Punch. It's like strawberry. I don't even know how to describe it. It's not a lemonade. It's like a strawberry, almost like an horchata. If you guys have had horchata, it's like that. But then on top is a peanut butter drizzle, and then whipped cream. It was really good. And then I also got the freestyle soda machines. I'm a sucker for freestyle soda machines, so I was loving that.
Now, did you see any shows there?
Yeah, so shows would for sure be number 3. I probably could rank them separately, and I probably will, so you guys can check out my YouTube channel for that. But in order, the number 1, the show we liked the most was the Dora Milaje. I would just, when they came out to that rap drum beat, I literally was shaking. I was like, what is happening? This is the coolest thing ever. So that was number 1. Number 2 was SpiderMan. I really like SpiderMan. I just think it's not a lot of great vantage points to see him. And there's a couple odd pauses that are a little awkward, but I think the show is great. Every time you see him fly, it's I can't believe the Imagineers pulled that off. And then number 3 was Doctor Strange. And that, I love Doctor Strange. Number 3 isn't a bad thing. I think it's a great show.
Wow.
It's just hard to get into, and it's definitely better or really good only at night. During the day, it's still fun, but not as cool. But at night, it's impressive.
Interesting. So what is that show? It's like the Jedi Training Academy, but you're just learning.
Yeah, it's similar to that without bringing kids up on stage. I think it's more geared towards the whole family. Like he definitely cracks a lot of dry jokes like the adults would only get. But then obviously it's still for kids a little bit, but it's impressive. My only hope is that they would change it up more because the storyline's kind of weak. Like the storyline of why Doctor Strange is there and like what he's doing is pretty weak, but the effects are just super cool. So I think it's got potential to be a really great show.
Interesting. So let's see. So wow, I'm curious. What's number? I guess number 2 would be the character interactions.
Yeah, number 2 is the character interactions. I had heard on Twitter how many characters were out, but you honestly can't even fathom what it's like until you're there. Literally every single time you turn, you hear something else. You're eating at Pim's, and then like all of a sudden you hear some new character walking by. I mean, it's incredible. They have the longest lines of the day were for the characters, but at some points they just walk past you and stop and like talk to you. You don't have to wait in line. So my nephew got a picture with Black Panther because there was no line. He just walked past us and we talked to him for like 5 minutes. So that like blew my nephew's mind. That was super fun for me. It just characters everywhere. And that's what lands need. I mean, Galaxy's Edge has it a little bit with the stormtroopers and like Rey and stuff and Chewie, but it's just not enough, man. They need more of it.
Yeah, and there's always someone walking around in the Avengers HQ balcony. Yeah. Sometimes 2 people walking around there.
100%, you're right. That was so cool. Yeah.
I want those roaming droids at Galaxy's Edge.
I know. And after walking through Avengers Campus and you see how small it is, you're like, Galaxy's Edge is huge. They definitely have room for this, okay?
Yeah. Gosh. And I'm guessing number 1 will be Guardians of the Galaxy.
I thought about it, but I feel like that's probably cheating just because it's been open for a while.
Yeah,
it is my number 1, but I'll go with the new number 1 because obviously it's been open for about 4 years. My number 1 is just, I mean, you pointed out earlier, Ethan, but just the nighttime package. I mean, Cars Land to me was you could not beat Cars Land at night. I think Avengers Campus comes close to, if not maybe beating Cars Land at night. It is just spectacular. It's so beautiful and it feels way bigger at night too. I don't know why. But just walking around at night, I was like, this land is insane, man. It's just beautiful.
And it's my favorite color, blue. And
yeah, let's go.
Blues. Like, wow. And speaking of Cars Land, there's a nice transition between Avengers Campus and Cars Land. And, there he is. There's Lightning McQueen.
The McQueen himself.
It's very special to you. You have to tell us why it's very special to you.
Yeah, that's right. What Ethan's talking about is my wife and I don't even know if I'd shared this before. I'm probably make a video on it soon, but my wife and I actually met at Cars Land. We met in 2018 there. She had known my older brother before, and we had briefly met, but we did back in like 2013, but we didn't remember each other. And we were both there on solo trips. I had come down with some friends and they had left, and I stayed an extra day and just went by myself. And that was the first time I'd ever done a solo trip. And my wife was down for work for a fashion show, and none of her coworkers wanted to go. So she went by herself on her first solo trip ever, and we went the exact same day. And I walked past her, and I know, crazy. And I walked past her in Cars Land, but I didn't recognize her. But she recognized me. I don't know if she thought I was my brother because she had known my brother, or if she just remembered meeting me. But she stopped me and she's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I just said yes. I just lied. I didn't really remember. And then we talked. After we talked, and she told me who she was. I remembered her, but. Yeah, and so she was like, "Oh my gosh, like I moved up to Seattle. Like, where do you still live in California?" Because we had used to live in California. That's when we met. And I was like, "No, I moved to Seattle too." We found out we lived like 20 minutes away from each other. So we hung out that whole day. I was supposed to meet up with some friends that night, and I just lied and told them like I got sick or something. I lied to them and hung out with this random girl. And then we went hung out in Seattle, and I proposed to her in front of Pirates of the Caribbean, and then we got married.
Wow, see if it wasn't the universe saying something, then I don't know what it was. Like
I know. So I guess biased, I gotta keep Cars Land number 1 all time on all rankings. It can never
because I mean, you know how many like thousands of people there were? Like that's insane. And
the craziest part is the fact that we had both never done solo days before, and that was the first day we each went solo.
Like what that's in my mind is
I know it is really crazy. Yeah, side point on that too. If any of you watching have never done a solo trip to Disney, here is my full recommendation for it right now. A solo trip, and I'm biased. I met my wife there, but even beside that, like just going to Disney Park by yourself is like it's honestly like therapeutic. Like even if you always go with your family or people you love, like my wife is my favorite person in the world. I love going with her, but going by yourself is like so therapeutic. I would recommend if you guys have never done it, just go for a couple hours. It'll change your life.
My first solo trip was actual solo trip because I used to work there, so sometimes I used to go in the park early. But I feel like my first solo trip was this year with Avengers Campus because I went to go film it for the channel. But I was waiting. There's that long. This one there was that long standby line, but I got a virtual web slingers, so it was like a few hours later. So I was there for like 6 hours just by myself. I was like, this is it was nice because there's no one saying let's go on this and let's go on that.
Right.
Make your own decision. Like, do I want? What if I want to go on nothing? What if I just want to hang out and just watch people? So it's nice being able to not do what everybody else wants to do, or everyone can make a decision. You can, if you're hungry, you can go eat. If you want to sit back and relax, you just sit there and relax. Solo trips are pretty nice.
And even if you're like the person in the group that plans everything, because like when I go, my nephew or my niece or even my wife, they'll just follow along with whatever I do because they know that we're the Disney fans, all of us. But even then, like even just being by yourself and just not having to do anything, it's something about it, like you said, man. But how long did you have to wait? How long was your standby? Because I wasn't meant to ask you about that.
The standby itself, I think that was maybe 8 hours or something. But I got in at the 12 p.m. virtual queue for the SpiderMan.
So that let you in. Okay.
Yeah, so then I was like at 3. So I had 3 hours. And I was already there for a couple hours beforehand. So I was in line. But so it took 3 hours and just I like one of my favorite things to do at DCA is to sit there and watch the Incredicoaster launch and watch the people scream. So I sat there for like a long time. But it was funny because it reminded me of Rise of the Resistance when everyone was in line and then half the line was cheering at 12 and then half the line looked pretty sad.
Right.
I was like, oh, I missed this, but I hate this for those other people.
That's the bummer about boarding groups. You feel so happy for yourself because we're the experts. We usually get it, but the normal people, it's like that sucks for them. But
yeah, especially the ones
I can't believe you have that
thing.
I know. I can't believe the standby was so long. I feel like when we went, man, it was empty. I mean, every ride besides Racers was a walk-on. Like literally our longest wait was the boarding group for Web. And so I feel like I wonder how my like view of it would have changed if it was a more packed land. Because like when you went, obviously it had to be pretty packed.
Oh yeah, it was pretty packed. And this is one of the times where it was like locked. Like if you left, you couldn't get back in.
Right.
So I encouraged more people to stay longer. So it was pretty crowded. Because it was so crowded, I couldn't see Doctor Strange, and I couldn't see the Spider-Man show because they didn't have wait times. They didn't have times listed. So I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was done for the day. So and so I was in Web Slingers. The Web Slingers line was about maybe 35 minutes after my virtual queue.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
And then I saw the Dora Milaje show, but there's a massive line for Black Panther. So I saw him, I waved to him, but there's a massive line. And Tim's, I didn't get to eat there because all the mobile order was gone for the day.
Right. It's crazy how a month later that just completely flipped on its head. And now it's like everything except for Pim's Tasting Lab. Like Pim's Test Kitchen, we would order and then hit I'm here like immediately. Like that's just crazy how much it flipped, man. Like it was so nice to be able to walk in and out of the land. I hope that it stays that way.
Yeah, same. As soon as they opened that up and took away that restriction, everything was a much better experience for what I saw. Because people, it didn't force people. People didn't be like, "Man, I waited all these hours to get in here. Now I feel like I'm obligated to stay here for the whole day because I waited so long to get in here."
No, exactly like that. And like, we'll give a plug to our buddy Orange Grove. On his channel, they did a big video about the launch of it with him and Bash and Rudio and Disney Family Man. And like Rudio was saying, so many people, and I don't blame them, I would have done the same thing. So many people just got in and stayed the whole day because if you can't leave, or I mean, if you can't come back, then don't leave. And I would have done the same. So the fact that it's pretty empty and open right now made it really nice.
Yeah, when I got into the web thing, I was like, man, I got in the thing, and I did that, and I wanted to. It was hard because also there's just that one shop. So I was like, but there was a long line. I think said it was like a 2-hour line for this shop. I'm like, man, there's long lines for everything, but I don't want to leave the land because I can't. As soon as I step out into Cars Land, then I'm out. I can't get back in for today. So I'm like, all right, let me just walk around, try to catch some shows. And as I took a few laps and just hung out because I did like as soon as I step into land, I love I'm like a massive Marvel fan,
Right. Yep.
Star Wars. So I just love that Avengers music blaring everywhere.
Oh my
And
gosh, I know. I didn't talk about that. That's such a highlight too.
like I think that might be actually my number one thing for me of the land if I were to rank
Yeah.
it because especially when you go on a Galaxy's Edge and there's no Star Wars music or
Right.
everything's missing there. I mean, I could just sit there for like an hour and just listen to that and just people watch and then listen to the Avengers music. And I was like, wow. And it's not even
Right.
just like loud. So it's like, right. I felt like I was watching Endgame all over again. It was
No,
great.
you're 100% right. And honestly, I feel like Galaxy's Edge and Avengers Campus are the exact opposite in every way, which is funny. Some
They really are.
like
Even from
Avengers
the
Campus
side.
is Galaxy's Edge is like beautiful and like super huge and tall and like thematically rich and feels like a different place. But like there's no Star Wars anything and like all that. Avengers Campus is really small and compact and tight and like really close to these other lands. But there's so much action. You feel like everywhere you go there's action and there's beautiful like it's just but there's no like nice trees and stuff. It's just the exact opposite of Galaxy's Edge in every way.
Yeah, it's so
They need to
weird.
learn from each other. Avengers Campus needs to expand if they can get some part of Hollywoodland for it. But Galaxy's Edge, they need to get character. They need to get more characters. They need to get more shows. Like you said with the music, they really need to get like a Hans Zimmer score that we know from the films. I feel like that would make it way better.
Yeah, and even if they want to blast, like even just in the tunnels, just have that
Yeah,
Star Wars main, like the theme, the opening crawl theme,
100%.
just as you go in and out, just to get you in the mood, then you can
100%. Yeah,
be all
and we have the
quiet.
room for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but right now you just go through tunnels and you hear like literal crickets. There's those crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's cool because it definitely transitions you away, but it's like we need now that it's over and it's not the new shiny new toy, it needs that like tie. And I always said I don't think they should have built Tatooine. I'm glad they didn't build Tatooine. I'm glad they built Galaxy's Edge. But now they need to abandon, not maybe fully abandon, but they need to allow like some of the older films to come in. They need to like you said put the music in. They need to maybe get Vader or someone else in there like they need to get the hardcore fans that don't come to Disney parks because now that the Disney park fans have gone there, it's not the shiny new toy anymore.
And it's crazy because I remember when they had us sell Mandalorian merchandise outside by the tunnels because it was breaking the conduit. Ooh, that was funny.
So
I'm like, wow.
I know. And I try to defend Chapek sometimes, like he's just doing his job, and I get it. But if Chapek wants to make money, put that stuff in the park, in the land. Don't put it like you said. Don't put it like as we just saw. There was some stuff in Critter Country, and don't put the Mandalorian stuff like right outside. Just put it in the land, man. You'll make more money.
And for the love of goodness, please give me a Grogu meet and greet. Like, like I need one of those.
Dude, and they could do it too. There's a spot. I'm not 100% confident we have as much room, but there's a spot in Hollywood Studios, Galaxy's Edge, that has like a photo op, and the photo op puts like Grogu in between you guys. They could easily just do a meet and greet there. There's so much space, and I feel like they could find room for it.
Definitely can, because they said about the hardcore fans. Like my mom, she hates large crowds, so she doesn't like theme parks. But she loves Star Wars, and so she hates Disneyland because of. She's like, oh, that place is too crowded. And I'm like, okay. And then, but when I showed her the picture of the Millennium Falcon, she was like, you know what? I might want to buy a ticket to see that.
Yeah.
But I think she'd also want to see Han Solo because
right.
she grew up with. So if she went in and saw Hondo, she had no idea. I mean, I had no idea who that was either. So she'd be like, who's this? But I feel like she'd just like to fly the Falcon. But I feel like for her, someone who never goes to Disneyland would like seeing to fly it with Chewbacca and everybody. Even at least put it and they said they're gonna change up the missions, but it's been enough time. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Put one more mission in there. So maybe like an old some with Chewbacca can come in here.
Yeah. 100%. And that's like what you said about your mom and the missions. Like that's why I feel like Galaxy's Edge still has so much potential. There's like YouTube clickbait, like, oh, it's a dead land. That's not even close to true. It just has so much to grow, and they just haven't implemented that stuff yet, but they will. And like you said with your mom, I feel like they could get so many more guests in if they, because obviously they have Chewie and like the Millennium Falcon, but besides that, what's their tie to the older generations?
Yeah.
If they added that, it could be huge.
Exactly, and there's so much room, and some of it, speaking of money, it's not really expensive. Like the music. I mean, they have pre-recorded music there. Just
right.
I mean, just change that. Like that could be like a literal overnight thing if they wanted it to be.
100%. I'm shocked they haven't done that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that's like free. So it's not even like oh, it's so expensive. Be like millions of dollars to do it. And we just spend $1 billion on. I mean, just simple things like. Probably
no, I agree. Simple things. Obviously, like if they added the Bantha ride or whatever, that'd be expensive. But they don't need to do that. Like you said, there's so many little things they could do that would boost that land. And obviously, once I'm not gonna say if, I'm gonna say once they add the expansion behind Oga's that they have the plot for the restaurant, they'll get their money back in a couple years just on food sales alone. So
especially if they put in the show that's supposed to be part of that. Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude, that'd be so huge because we don't really have that at Disneyland. At Disney World, they have the Hoop to Do Review and they have the Spirit of Aloha. Those like live shows, even Cosmic Rays to a bit because they have the show in there. We don't really have that at Disneyland. If they added that, bro, like you said, it would be so popular.
Right. It'd be sold out the whole time. It'd be great.
100%. 100%.
So now it's ranking time. Oh boy, we're getting the ranking the mouse on the theme park wizard. So we're gonna rank all the lands of both parks. Let's start with Disneyland. What is your least favorite land?
Least favorite land of Disneyland? This one is I was gonna say easy, but this is actually kind of tough for me. But I'm gonna go with the land that might ruffle some feathers. For last place, I actually have Critter Country.
No,
I know, man. I know. Critter Country is beautiful. I don't dislike Critter Country. I'm a proponent of beautiful areas and parks, and I love that. I just also like potential, and I think that Critter Country is the exact opposite of that. I think it's a dying land. I think that once Tiana goes in, they're going to make that Northern Square, and it's going to be small. I do like Pooh, and I actually love the store at the back of the land. I blank on the name, but that is one of the best stores in Disneyland.
Place or Pooh's
Corner, I think. Yeah.
Pooh's Corner, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. And I don't dislike Critter Country. I just think it's a dying land. I know people love it. I do like hanging out there, but it's just there's not really any seating areas. I really dislike Hungry Bear. I think Hungry Bear's a bad restaurant. So.
Oh,
yeah.
You're gonna ruffle some feathers. Don't bring the pitchforks.
I know. You guys can come leave the hate comments at my channel, not on these.
But yeah, I agree. Critter Country is kind of small, but it's just so nice. Basically because in Disneyland Park, my favorite ride is Splash Mountain. So that's what's always it fuels a big that fuels my Critter Country love.
I can see that. I just think that it's not going to be a part of Critter Country for much longer. I might be wrong. But we'll see.
And I hope it will, because look, something I see people don't see. I say too much. Look, Critter Country, it thematically works perfectly, where they actually don't even have to change it. Because look, there's New Orleans Square, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the downtown New Orleans is pirate stuff. Haunted Mansion, like in the suburbs, like up in Louisiana, where there's those big houses. So I have family from Louisiana, so and I haven't been there, but I FaceTime them, so I see how it is. And then behind those big mansions, they have those people that like all these acres of land, and it's just marshes and swamps and like the countryside is just like Critter Country. It's like a whole Critter Country vibe right behind them. So I feel like it thematically works so good. You have New Orleans.
So your proposal is keep Critter Country, but it just be a subland, kind of like an attachment to New Orleans.
Because I almost feel like it already kind of is. Because look, you have the downtown area is pirates, then you have the suburb is Haunted Mansion, and then you're going more into the backwoods area of Louisiana, and that's Critter Country where all the critters live. Like
you're presenting a pretty good argument.
It so seamlessly works perfectly that I feel like they can't change it or retheme it, because I feel like it's like a natural progression, it's like it's just perfect. It's part of the perfectness of Disneyland, those
That's a pretty good argument. I could get on board with that. I don't think I'd be against that.
yeah, see, and for everyone who's curious what I'm talking about, go on Google Earth or Google Maps. Go to Louisiana, you'll see there's downtown New Orleans, and you get out of the city, it's just marshes and like a critter country style, and they have those same animals, alligators,
Yeah.
rabbits. I don't know about bears. Maybe there's a bear,
Yeah.
but boom, and just it's so natural. It's ridiculous if it changes.
Yeah, it's that. You give a good argument. I might be on board.
The river, rivers of America, but the Mississippi River like goes right through that. It goes through the downtown, and it also goes right through the marshes up the country, and boom, just like it does in Disneyland. Whoever thought about it was a genius. A genius, I tell you.
That's right.
Genius.
No, I'm on board with that. I just think it's too small right now, but I'm not against that idea. That could be
it's small, but like if you can, or like you can, it can be like a subplane. It can be part of New Orleans Square, but still critter country because it's like the backwoods in New Orleans, like like in real life. Great stuff.
It works for me. That's a fix for everybody. A win-win. I like it.
Exactly. Man, so what's your seventh favorite land?
Yeah, so second to last is going to be Toontown. And now Toontown has a lot of potential, so this could move up higher. I just think right now it needs work. There's only a couple lands that really need a lot of work in Disneyland, and Toontown's definitely one of them. But I think the rides are great. Roger Rabbit's is underrated, and honestly, I think Gadget's Go Coaster is underrated too. It's a really good it's the same ride system as Goofy's Barnstormer in Magic Kingdom. 10 times better in my opinion. So it's got good rides. It's just
more themed.
Yeah, more themed. It just needs work right now. I think there's a couple dead ends that need work, and the fact that there's no kinetic energy. I know the trolley used to run. I know that probably isn't practical anymore, but it's kind of a dead land. I don't like dead ends, and that's kind of why I don't love Critter Country right now. But I like Toontown. It'll be obviously great when Mickey Minnie's goes in, but it needs work. It needs some TLC.
Yeah, I agree. A nice repainting job. Yeah, I like the Orange Grove's idea with the like not like a blank wall, but like a wall for like projections, nighttime projections. That'd be super cool. If, like a sun there.
Yeah,
that'd be super. And Roger Rabbit's, I love Roger Rabbit's. Like my friend's never been on it. I said, let's go. You gotta get on it. You gotta get on it. I'm like, all right. So they walked out because it's too far, it's all the way in the back. So they don't even walk a little bit. So they walked over there. And now every time we go, they want to go on it every single time. I'm like, I told you you'd like that one.
Yeah.
And they trek all the way in the back to get on Roger Rabbit.
And that's the biggest bummer is it is so far back. If they ever do, and I feel like they could add the Galaxy's Edge and Toontown bridge because there's an expansion gap between those. That would really help the land. Just give it more flow. I think that'd be great if they did that.
Yeah, it'd be more, especially the Mickey and Minnie's there. It'd be easier access for people.
For an e-ticket, right? So you're not filling the land. Yeah, that'd be great. Yep. All right, and then number 7, right above that is Tomorrowland. I feel like probably a lot of people have Tomorrowland last.
Yeah, I thought that would have been your number 8 or your last one.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have it last, and I get why. I mean, I agree with all those reasons. It is just bad right now. It's really bad. It's not enjoyable to hang out in. But they have probably one of the most classic, great roller coasters of all time. And the Space Mountain facade is still a 10 out of 10. It's still a perfect facade. They still have the
potential, like.
Right, and it has so much potential because there's so much room. It still has a railroad stop. It still has the lagoon. It still has the monorail. I mean, I really dislike Tomorrowland, but it's still objectively an amazing land in terms of rides and in terms of area. So it needs a lot of work, and it's hopefully going to get a lot of work in the next 10 years. But it's still got great rides. So.
Naturally, that shows a lot of them. Actually, one of the most of any land.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
So next one after that, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there? I think there's 9 lands. So I think we're on 6 right now. 9, 8, 7. So 6 is going to be, and this is probably a little controversial again, but 6 is going to be Frontierland. It's tough to put Frontierland so low because I love Frontierland. The top 6 are all amazing lands. But I think Frontierland is great because it has all that space. You know, technically the Rivers of America are I think part of it, or the rides are part of it. But the actual Frontierland itself, like when you walk through, is just a little disappointing. Maybe I'm just used to the Walt Disney World version, but it's just a little disappointing.
Small.
Huh?
It is small.
It's small. It's small. And Adventureland is small too, but Adventureland feels more encompassing. When you walk into Frontierland, it just feels, I don't know, I'm always a little underwhelmed. But Frontierland's amazing. It has my best quick service on property in Rancho del Zocalo. It has obviously like 5 rides between Big Thunder and Mark Twain and Sailing Ship Columbia and the Shooting Gallery. Maybe 4? I'm forgetting one. Maybe it's just 4.
I don't know. Is that really a ride?
True, a track. But I just think it's small, and so that's what drops it down. I like the land. I just think that it's a little underwhelming when you first walk in, but still good. And then number 5, right above Frontierland, is going to be Main Street USA. I love Main Street. I wish I could put it higher, but there's just every other land is just so good. There is an argument. You could argue Main Street's number 1, and I probably would not disagree. I think Main Street is incredible. I think it sets up, in terms of like anticipation, it's number 1 because it sets up your whole day. If Disneyland didn't have Main Street, it would still be like probably the best park, but it'd be a lot more like underwhelming. And there's so many rides too. If you guys want to check out on my channel, I did a video of ranking all the rides on Main Street, and there's actually like 6 rides. Well, 6 attractions. So it does have a lot going for it. I just think that it's kind of small and there's not a whole lot of room for growth right now. But it's still a great land. It's hard to rank it because it's so different than the rest.
And it's so iconic, you know. I feel like that's the most iconic thing.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Like wow. Main Street. If Main Street were a mall, it would be like one of those successful malls, I feel like.
If they would have done that Taste of Disney, but at Main Street, it would have blown the doors away.
Oh, it would have been sold out for months.
Yeah.
Months.
Yeah. All right, we're into our top 4. So these, and obviously 1 through 6 are all great lands. It's hard to even put Frontierland and Main Street lower, but coming in number 4 is Galaxy's Edge. I love Galaxy's Edge. I think it's beautiful. It's got, like we were talking about earlier, it's got so much room for growth. But right now, it's definitely a little disappointing, I guess you could say. I mean, obviously Rise is the best technological ride you could ever think of. Millennium Falcon's good, but it gets worse with every ride, I think.
Yeah, and they don't change it up.
Yeah, man, if they need to change it up. If they change it up, it'll get great again. I just think it's got such low rewritability right now.
A holiday version or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm putting the holiday Star Wars version.
Yeah,
we need to see them. That'd be great.
You know, entertainment or something. Anything.
They need more, like you said about Media Day. They had those shows going Media Day, and then it's just like they let it go. And sometimes there's still stormtroopers walking around up top, and they still have the Kylo Ren show, but the land is beautiful, but I think they need to do more with it, and so they hopefully will down the road. But right now they need to do more with it. All right, top 3. Number 3. This is tough because these are all like perfect lands. But number 3 is Adventureland. If it was bigger, this would probably be number 1. I just am a sucker for that theme. I don't know why. It just engulfs you. Like you just walk in and you like look up, and it's like you just feel like you're somewhere else. And what I love about Adventureland is like Galaxy's Edge doesn't really have any history, and Main Street USA doesn't really have anything like that's revolutionary. Adventureland has both. You have the history with Jungle Cruise, and you have the history with the treehouse and like all the shops. But then you have the technological advancement of Indiana Jones. You have the brand new area that they just opened,
the Tropical
Hideaway. And so it's just like it just blends everything so well. It's got great rides. Tiki Room, like Adventureland for me is just, in terms of like size per square foot, it packs the best punch for sure.
Yeah, and it's super small, but a lot of even restaurants and shops. There's a lot in there.
They fit a lot in that little land.
They feel like on every square inch, which is pretty good.
And if you include Indiana Jones's outdoor queue as part of the land, it just makes it even more beautiful because it fits so well.
The noise, and you can see the Jungle Cruise right next to you. It's very nice.
And I haven't been on the Jungle Cruise update yet, so I don't know. Have you been on the new Jungle Cruise yet?
I have not, and I've yet to go. Probably next month I'll go. But I'm surprised you didn't go. You're there for like so long.
I know. It was the only ride that had over 45-minute wait, over 30-minute wait the entire week, and I wanted to wait for it. We ended up never having time for it. And
wow.
Yeah. Next time.
Top two.
Top two. Duking it
And
out. We
number
got
one. Let's see.
So
I'm right.
we have Fantasyland versus the GOAT, New Orleans Square. And coming in number two is Fantasyland. I love Fantasyland. There's 15 rides or something like that? Like
so
14,
many.
15 rides, which is literally incredible. I think the new Fantasyland, I don't remember when they redid it. I want to say like 15 years ago when they added the like brickwork and all that stuff. I know they repainted the brickwork recently, but it's just beautiful, man. It's so like just breathtaking. The fact that it goes all the way back to basically all the way to Toontown. It's just like huge land. You have the Matterhorn. I mean, it's just great. The reason it's not number one is I just don't think it engulfs you in the moment. I don't think the theming engulfs you as much as number one, but I mean, it's still, there's not a whole lot bad you can say about this land. It has so much history. It's great for kids, which is huge because that's what Disneyland's all about. So great land.
Yeah. And New Orleans Square, the best Christmas themed land out there.
Yes. I honestly probably would put New Orleans Square in one of my best lands in any park ever. I mean, it's just, if you've been there, you know, it's got history. It's perfect. The fact that Pirates and Haunted Mansion are still two of the best rides in the world and they're 60 years old, it's just mind blowing.
Crazy. That's incredible. And it's right on the river like that.
Yeah.
And you can meet Dr. Felicia.
Yeah.
Tiana.
Yeah. And there's so much backstory too. Have you guys ever watched Offhand Disney's channel? He goes into a lot of the backstory. It's just crazy how much just history is in the land. It's just amazing.
And during for Christmas time, it's like beautifully decorated, like the best land ever. Especially at nighttime, like wow, the Mardi Gras, super cool.
New Orleans Square at night is magical. I mean, literally magical. It's just hard to even describe how great it is.
And it's funny because it's not even the biggest land, but it's like, and there's usually the bands performing there.
Yeah. And when you walk through the walkways like behind, like when you get off of Pirates, where all the shelves are, it just feels like you literally feel like you're in New Orleans. It's crazy.
Yeah, the French Quarter area, very nice.
Now I want to go there.
Yeah, let's go. Book a ticket.
You're closer to me, Ethan.
That is true. And I have 4 unused tickets.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to, and quickly for DCA.
Yeah, we can do DCA quickly. So I'm pretty sure that there's 9 lands there too, but there might only be 8, but we'll go through them really quick. Last place, unfortunately, I have Pacific Wharf. I think Pacific Wharf is actually pretty beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's a fun land. It looks great. There's just no rides. I mean, you have the bakery tour and then the Imagineer Blue Sky Cellar, but it's just, I don't know. It's just too small right now. If they could fit in a ride somehow, it'd be great. I'm glad it exists. I think it looks great. It's just, you're only there to eat. So that's last. Second to last is the ugliest land, in my opinion, Paradise Gardens Park. They need to just make it all Pixar and make that whole thing Pixar Pier. Yeah, I like the land. I like Little Mermaid. I like the Zephyr. I like the swings. It's just, what is a Paradise Gardens Park? I don't even think people know that that's what it's called. Especially
I think people still associate with the Pixar Pier.
Right, exactly. They just need to expand Pixar Pier. It's beautiful. Like the lagoon is beautiful, but no one even knows that that's a land. So that's second to last. Third to last is Hollywoodland. I mean, especially now that Avengers Campus is not a part of it, that just hurts it so bad. It only has PhilharMagic and Monsters Inc. Obviously, it's got Animation Academy too, but I mean, I like it, especially at night. It's really fun to walk around. It's got the best drinks on property at Schmoozy's, best non-alcoholic drinks. But it needs work, obviously, as everyone knows. It's like Tomorrowland. It just needs a lot of work. So that's third to last. And then I think we're in our top 5, if I'm counting right, maybe top 6. So next is going to be Buena Vista Street. I love Buena Vista Street. It's beautiful. It's just a little bit too small, especially compared to Main Street. But it's great. They need to get the trolley back. Once they get that trolley back, it'll really help the land. But even the trolley itself's like not that fun to ride. Like it's fun to watch, but it's kind of ugly when you get on the inside of it. So I love Buena Vista Street, man. I love they have Oswald. It's just beautiful, but I just wish there was more to do there. I think that brings us into our top 5. Let me count in my head really quick.
Let's see.
Should be 5. Should be or maybe 4. But anyways, next is going to be Pixar Pier. Love Pixar Pier. I think the Pixar theme works better than some people think. But it's still like super jarring. I don't think people understand that there's like an Inside Out headquarters and like a Incredibles land. Like I don't think people get
Yeah,
that.
there's like no signs.
Yeah, you're right. There's no sign. It just doesn't flow. I still think it's beautiful, especially at night. Like Emotional Whirlwind is beautiful. Incredicoaster, like you said earlier, Ethan, just watching it is super fun. So it's still a great land, but why do we have Jack Jacks on sticks, man? Why couldn't they just enclose that? Just build a tunnel or something.
It's so funny.
Just take it out. It just looks so dumb.
I laugh every time I pass by that.
Yeah. It works for me. It works for me better than it works for some, but it's not great. There's no denying it was a cheap overlay.
Yeah.
But it still has Incredicoaster and Toy Story, which are two of the best rides in the whole park. So, so it's still great land, and it's got great dining too, man. The snacks and the dining is top notch.
And it's the biggest one.
It's the biggest one, 100% biggest one. Yep. So I think that brings me into our top three. Anyone can correct me if I'm missing one. I don't think I am. Top three is tough because these three are all like top 5 in the whole land, top 10 in the whole like United States for me. These are all amazing.
Wait a second. I think it's top 4.
Is it top 4?
Yeah. So yeah.
Grizzly?
Campus already?
No, not yet. Avengers, Cars, Grizzly.
Cars, Grizzly, and then Condor Flat. If you count Condor Flats.
Yeah, okay. I think that they rolled that into Grizzly, but who knows anymore with DC.
Yeah.
I think they rolled it into Grizzly Peak Airfield, but whatever. Well, they might still be Condor Flats. No one really knows with DCA right now.
Yeah.
We'll just count it one. But yeah, in third place is that Condor Flats and Grizzly Peak Airfield. I mean, 2 amazing rides. Soarin' and Grizzly are great, but there's nowhere for Grizzly Peak Airfield to go. Like, it's kind of hit its peak, and that's fine peak to hit. Like, it's beautiful. If you're ever gonna sit in DCA, like that's the spot to sit. It's just calming. There's that little back walk area.
There's a place where to go. It's called the Grand Californian Hotel spot.
You're right. Expand the Grand Cali. Well, that actually adds to the land too. The fact that the Grand Cali is right there is so cool to me. Like having a second gate, like that's just so cool. Like
they have that. Like if you look at the hotel footprint, like when they built it, they could have like stacked it more.
Yeah.
Corner, that DVC corner, I think.
Right. They could have. Yeah.
Just stack that on top of the top.
But I guess they can still expand where the walkthrough is. Gosh, why am I forgetting the name? What is it called?
The Challenge Trail.
Redwood Creek. The Challenge Trail. They can expand there still too. So there is room. But what I love about Grizzly is there's no IPs too. Like Soarin' and Grizzly are the last 2 non-IPs in that park, and so that's besides like the Zephyr. So that's amazing.
Well,
so that's a great land.
Now you just jinxed it.
I know. Imagineers, do not listen to that.
Announcement tomorrow. Disney Parks blog.
Yeah, no, it's a great land, man. It's just so fun to chill out in. I think it's just a little bit not small, but it's just used as a walkway for a lot of people. I wish there was more room to walk around, but it's still amazing land. Top 3 is a great score. Coming in number 2, this is really tough for me, bro. These are so close, but I got to go number 2, Avengers Campus. Amazing land. It'll probably be number 1 the second they expand. It's just a great land. It's 2 great rides, hopefully 3 great rides in a couple years. Amazing walkthrough, and we already talked about it. We don't need to talk about it again. Number 1, Cars Land. 3 attractions. Number 1 is the best attraction of the whole park, objectively. The 2 attached rides are like incredible little kid spinner rides. They're like the best way to do spinner rides.
That Tow Mater, that's not it's a kid's ride, but if you lean into those whips,
Junkyard Jamboree, heck yeah. It's a great ride, and just the themes, man. In terms of like immersion, like feeling like you're in a ride, I don't think there's a better Disneyland, or feeling like you're in a movie. I'm sorry, there's no better Disney park land. Like it's just you're in Radiator Springs. I mean, it's just crazy. It's Cars, one of my favorite things ever. I met my wife there, and it's just spectacular night. So it's number 1.
Definitely best themed DCA holiday themed land.
Yes,
and
both holidays.
Yeah, both holidays, and definitely I felt like in the resort too. I feel like it's one of the best themed, if not the best themed holiday land, at least definitely for Halloween, and it can be up there with Newland Square for Christmas.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Ethan. I think it's even got history too. Like it goes back before it was just Cars Land, back when they were trying to just build like a Route 66 land. Yeah, Cars Land, like without the cars attachment. So it's just great, man. I think that was the best. Junior says Toy Story number 1. That is a great ride. It's top 5 for sure. Oh, Toy Story Land. Yeah, that's it. Disney World.
Wow, that's the first person I heard say Toy Story Land was their favorite.
Yeah, I don't think I'd put it as my number one, but hey, it's still good land. But yeah, Cars Land, it's perfect in literally every way. And there's still room for expansion. I think they need to expand out a little bit. So hopefully
Yes,
they do.
please. Yes, please. Man. Well, thank you, Shaun Ranks the Mouse, for being on our lovely guest there on this hour-long live stream. It was
Yes.
awesome to have you hear about your trip and hear these awesome rankings
Yeah.
and what went by a very, very quick time.
I know it did. That's crazy. Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, man. It was a blast.
To everybody. He's gonna post videos daily. I'm putting into his mind right now that he's gonna post videos daily, starting with today. So if you go check that out.
I think he meant monthly, not daily.
Daily. Wink, wink. And follow his Twitter. He's very active with the Twitter peeps over there.
Yes.
Like super active. I don't know how he does that. I don't know how he be that active.
The Twitter time takes away from my YouTube time.
Yeah, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
But yeah, go follow him and subscribe to his channel because he has some great stuff coming. And as always, have a fantastic day.
Thanks, Ethan. See you guys.